Okay, so obviously we're coming up to the end of the season as well. So obviously this means we'll be talking about the Ballon d'Or. I'll put 4 players here that probably would be definitely in contention there. It'd be interesting to see if there's, well, out of these 4 actually, who do you think?
For me, it's clear. But go on, John. You go on, tell them.
I wouldn't, even though I'm not going to be biased there, I don't think it's Haaland. Yeah, he's had a great season. He's still bagged the goals, but has he been at the heights he was last year? No. I've watched a lot of Bayern Munich this season, but again, not being disingenuous to the Bundesliga, I think it was great that Harry Kane could score 40 goals. He's not up against the best defences, is he? PSG, I don't watch much the French league, so I can't comment on Mbappe, but I think it has to be Jude Bellingham. Just in your first season to go to Real Madrid as a box-to-box centre midfielder, score 20 goals and just have that impact has been great. Has he been amazing right throughout the season? Everything? No, but I think the impact and at his age as well, I think it would go to Bellingham. It probably won't do though, knowing how the voting system works. But yeah, I'd give it.
I think it will. I think by a landslide as well. I think is because I'm sure they're playing him more as a 10 now at Madrid.
Yeah,
I'm sure. I think literally Southgate's changing the England setup or system because of him as well. He's scoring big goals. He's scored late goals in both Clásicos. Like you said, his impact, the demeanor, the sort of I know that this game's mine. There's not many players like that these days. There just isn't. Breath of fresh air. So I work a lot. Obviously, I do my scouting in the Midlands, and I hear some of the coaches that have coached him before he turned pro. Just all of them say he's a good lad, very honest in his approach. It's not like a facade that you see, and he carries it on the pitch. He's a leader. I think it's nailed on. He's going to be a legend. I'll be honest. I watched him in Sun games a couple of years ago, and I wasn't quite like he looked good, but I was thinking, are you going to go to that next level? And he's just exceeded expectations. I think he's top. I really do.
I think it's the maturity to go into Real Madrid at that age. I'll not be overcome by the situation. He's backing off what Joel said, basically, which was taking the ball by the horns and gone for it. You see him speaking Spanish in interviews as well, trying to integrate himself in the community. So I know the vote isn't based on that, but it should be really. But yeah, I go with Bellingham.
Yeah, I think we'll get it.
And how about I know I haven't seen enough of Job and how big a difference. I know one's at Real Madrid, one's at Sunderland. So, but he's younger, isn't he? I mean, but he doesn't even put Bellingham on the back of his shirt, which I quite like. He's not trying to play off his brother's name or be in that shadow.
Yeah.
Does anyone know what he's actually like? I haven't seen enough of him.
Same, I haven't seen a lot of him. I've heard that he's still a very good player. From what I've heard, he's a very good player, but I think it just shows that Bellingham's like Jude is just I'm not going to say it too early, potentially generational sort of player. But we said that about probably a lot of players in the past, young players, and then they just fall apart, run out of steam. Because a lot of young players are playing so many games these days that it kind of questions what's the peak going to be in this era of football. The amount of yards covered in and out of possession. So it'd be interesting to track him. But as for Job, who knows? But fair play if he's putting his own name on the back of his shirt. Well, that screams probably the mentality of his brother as well. So
yeah. Now for me, I know you're both really clear cut on this. I think if Bayern go on to win the Champions League, I think it'll be Kane. So I think this game against the two of them, the Real Madrid Bayern game, I think that could really define who could win the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point. We'll see.
And plus, as well, I think Kane. It's time to give Kane one. He's been classed for so long. It's like a lifetime achievement award. He's been brilliant. Like it's just not got close. Okay, if you was to take those out, some other kind of mentions there. Obviously, Haaland's one, but if you look at De Bruyne, Rodri, Declan Rice, Ollie Watkins, have you taken away? Because I know that the Ballon d'Or really favours goal scorers. All of these, obviously, say bang 20. So that always favours it. But special mentions for any of those guys?
I do think Rodri, they're just unreal. He's very not as attacking as Jude, but to be the height and size he is and to impact the game from that sort of position when he's not Pepper's turned him into a natural ball playing centre mid. I don't think he was that at Sevilla, but I would throw Rodri in the mix. De Bruyne, again, I don't. He's not been for me. Kevin's not been at the races this year. He's had a lot of injuries. Obviously, the quality's still been there over time, but I don't think he's shone like the couple of guys on the screen you got there, Matt. But I'd throw Rodri in there.
Declan Rice, Joel. I think that people are not talking about his price tag, which says a lot.
Yeah. Honestly, because that's the first thing. As soon as a bad performance, you look at Anthony. That's all you're hearing. How much does he cost? Now, Rice has been top. To be fair, I think watching him week in, week out. Sorry, you can see that there's still elements of his game that he needs to improve. I think he's very good in the 8 when he's playing more box to box, when he can run down that left side. I think in the next couple of years, I think he's going to be an exceptional player. But out of possession, I don't remember I've seen someone who can chop up the midfield and win back the ball so much. I can't think of it off the top of my head. He's so good at that. His anticipation and his desire to win the ball is top. He's top, man. We've been dying for a midfielder like that for years. Honestly, it's a breath of fresh air to see, man.
Yeah, we enjoyed him. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Cheers.
I would like to throw another name out there, and again, this is not being disingenuous to Newcastle, but if Alexander Isak was in a City or a Real Madrid or a Bayern Munich, would we be, would his name be on this list in a couple of years' time?
Or Arsenal? Love Arsenal.
You don't want another striker.
I'll take Isak. Honestly, I don't care. Give them what they want. He's top player.
No, it's funny you say that with Rice, just to go back to that for a second, because when he was at West Ham, Arsenal and Tottenham fans were like, oh, shit. He does nothing. He doesn't score enough. As soon as he goes to Arsenal fans, he's amazing. He's brilliant. Funny how it changes.
You know what? You see the Conference League final? Because it was Amrabat playing in the 6 for Fiorentina, and then it was Rice on, obviously, for West Ham. Amrabat actually looked better that day. I don't know if you remember, or probably, a bit of bias is creeping, but when I was watching it, for me, I thought Amrabat actually looks like a player. So I wasn't that keen. For me, I was like Caicedo all the way, to be fair. But I'm so glad that it's not me making the decisions, because Rice is unbelievable. Watching him week in, week out. I actually watched. I was at Wolves versus Arsenal. I was in one of the boxes watching and seeing it live. The distance that he covers, so quick to win the ball back. Honestly, man. One of the. I think is he player of the season? Is he player of the season? Who else? Who else would you say?
Well, Ollie Watkins has got to be in with a shout. I think he's had a standout one.
Oh yeah, it's been all right. Played well against us. But that's what it is.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think he doesn't need to run as much, Rice. I think he just kind of knows where the ball is. He reads it so well.
Absolutely.
Has there been talking about Ballon d'Or? Has there been like a standout young player who's the kind of breakthrough prospect of the Premier League?
Palmer. Surely Palmer or mate. I think Palmer actually. He's been carrying Chelsea. I know, obviously, I don't know how many games he played for City last season. But to come this season and do the things that he's doing, just not even the fact that he's scoring the goals and the assists, when you just watch him in build-up and just his technical ability, Saka needs to watch out, honestly. I think as the years go on. And serious, he's a player, man. Rate him.
Can we still put Phil Foden in the mix, or is he too old now?
No, behave.
I was just looking at that. I was like, how old is Phil? Phil Foden's 23 and Palmer's 21, because I thought they were very similar, but... yeah, but Foden's a bit old. I wouldn't put him in the mix anyway. Foden. He needs to do it. He needs to do it for England before I like him more. Not a major fan,
how old? I know probably people disagree with this, but how old is Anthony Gordon? Because I think for what he's been doing at Newcastle this season, he's gone a little bit under the radar.
I think he's. Hold on, let's have a look. But no, he's been good. I haven't watched Newcastle that much this season, to be fair. I don't actually get to watch a lot of football these days because I'm usually working in Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, but he done really well when he come on for England.
He's 23.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same
probably
goals.
Palmer's the standout
It's
young
got
boy.
to be for me.
Yeah.
No.
Well, when you look at those players we just mentioned there, so we're talking about the England midfield being Bellingham, Rice, Foden, Anthony Gordon, and Mainu. Just in those players, all under 23. That's quite promising, isn't it?
Mm.
You'd like to think so, Mark, but we have a weird.
We've been here before.
Ruining it. It's we seem to get inundated with all this talent, and it falls apart.
The big thing is, I don't think we really now have, like Harry Kane hasn't got too many more tournaments in him, and I can't see anyone. Ollie Watkins isn't the same league. Obviously, I don't think there's anyone else coming through striker wise for England that I know of.
Nah, not really. Probably Tony, but Tower's Tony now 28. I'm just thinking maybe the next 2-3 years until maybe someone else can come up. How old's Solanke as well? Solanke's in.
Yeah, he's dropped off. Yeah, he dropped off a cliff though. He hasn't scored for a while. So I think he had a good spell, but Liverpool rejects. I don't think he's. I don't think he's going to do anything really.
No.
That's the problem.
We could go back to what England might do. What Pep did, and play a load of false nines and just rotate all these midfield options just round. Really, it could be one way.
Yeah, nice a shot. Do you think maybe Cole Palmer? I think even Anthony Gordon, I swear he can actually play up front, or he has done it before. Cole Palmer could probably play false nine as well.
Put Rashford up there, give him something to do.
Oh, stuff it with Rashford. I'm done with that kid. Someone said that he was like a Theo Walcott. He's like the new Theo Walcott.
Oh, wow.
Has the potential, has a good season, but doesn't quite, fill his potential. We question why all the time, and has he still got it, but he doesn't actually get there. Could be. I think it's a good shout. Whoever said it, I think it's a good shout, but I don't really rate him. I think the issue with Rashford, I think when you have a young player, because he come in just after a few years after Fergie left. When you're coming in as a young player into an environment where it's constantly being changed, where it's constantly toxic, new coaching teams, I think people overlook how important it is to have a steady development in terms of your coaching and playing styles when it changes all the time. And I think with all of those things combined, I think you've seen a player that has been, I don't want to say neglected, but the system sort of failed him almost. I think Man U's failed him. Because you see sometimes, like last season, you see him in spells, he looks like a really top player. But then you look at him in other spells and then you couple that with what's going on outside the club and the things that he gets himself into. It's a shame for him, I think.
Yeah. We mentioned someone earlier, and I think, again, we're talking young English talents. There's not many. I don't think this could ever happen, but Mason Greenwood, how can he progress? Because he's obviously had bags of talent. I don't think he could ever play in England again in the Premier League. So that means he could never really represent England again, because I just think there'd be too much uproar. What's going to happen to his career?
Enjoy the sun.
End up in South Korea with Jesse Lingard. I think if Greenwood ever came back to the Premier League or even the Championship, I think whatever club employed him has to look at themselves from a moral standpoint. And I know his girlfriend pulled the charges and everything like that. I'm not a legal expert, but there's enough evidence there to show that he's a bad guy. No matter, I don't care who you are, he's a bad guy. But I think it speaks to the morality of La Liga. Like Getafe fans were celebrating his signing, and it's like, okay, if that's where you want to go and play, go and do it. But yeah, I think he'll either just stay, as Joel said, he'll just enjoy the sun.
Enjoy the sun.
Enjoy the sun. That's it. Get your paycheck. Just go on being a bad guy, and that's it. Because I don't think he wouldn't play for England again. The FA just would not have it. It'd be a PR nightmare.